EFF and Afriforum intend to picket outside court. In fact, those pickets have already begun. It's all as the second court appearance of those two suspects happens later this morning. That's in connection with the murder of farm manager Brendin Horner. Let's check in with our reporter Malungelo Booi, who is there live for us now. Malungelo, you are, I believe, in the CBD, quite a distance away from where the main protest action for now is taking place. Just describe to us the scenes that met you as you arrived there.
That's right, Michelle. In fact, before you even enter Senekal, what you're greeted with are police officers who are on a roadblock, stopping vehicles and checking the vehicles. Essentially, what those police officers are doing are searching, Michelle, for they want to know every person that is coming into this small town. And of course, when you arrive into the town, you're seeing that there's also police officers almost everywhere. And you can also see that there's members of the economic freedom fighters that have essentially descended into this town, as those two suspects you spoke about are set to make their second court appearance regarding the murder of farm manager Brendin Horner. And of course, Michelle, the businesses also, if you look around this town, if you walk around this town, most businesses, Michelle, are closed. The only businesses that I've seen that have been opened have only been garages, Michelle.
So, Malungelo, what is the plan in terms of, you're saying that most businesses in town are closing today. What is the plan in terms of making sure that the protest action on both sides, the EFF and Afriforum, doesn't actually get close to the court precinct itself?
So what police have done, in fact, Michelle, have cordoned some of the streets here in Senekal, that in a way trying to control the number of people that would be going towards the court precinct. Remember, they're trying to make sure that they keep these two groups as far apart from each other as possible. But also what we also understand, Michelle, is that members of the ANC in this particular province will also descend into this town. But I want to bring you something that I observed earlier. I was talking to one of the small businesses here who actually had opened up his shop, and then I asked him about what has been happening in this particular town over the past few days. He in fact said that what had happened, the incident that led into what we're currently seeing here was pure criminality, going as far as to say people be black and white here. They live, you know, along one another in harmony. But also when you speak to some people, they will tell you that, well, there are racial tensions from time to time, and they also believe that this incident has in a way exacerbated that racial tensions that were already sort of like underlying in this particular town. Let me tell you, Michelle, also you're seeing a lot of trucks moving up and down this road. Well, we have been told that this road in fact also links Gauteng and this Free State town with Durban. I'm wondering then maybe perhaps whether later on, Michelle, would this road be affected when, you know, the court proceedings start, or when the court proceedings in fact conclude?
You know, you're obviously, you're there, you're able to speak to people, not only from the town, but people who are protesting. We saw quite a number of EFF members this morning decked out in their red, protesting already ahead of that court appearance. What, according to what you're hearing from them, is their understanding about this protest action this morning? Julius Malema telling us yesterday on Channel 405 that this is about safeguarding the country's democracy. How is that going to be done today in terms of how those protesting understand it?
Well, if you speak to the ordinary members of the EFF that are actually here, Michelle. They'll also tell you that they're here to actually safeguard the country's democracy from what we saw last week when during the first court appearance of those two suspects. We saw, shots being fired inside the court. We saw a state vehicle being torched by those farmers. Also, that's the tone you're also getting from some of those that are coming here from the economic freedom fighters, saying that they're here to make sure that they're here to defend the country's democracy. They're here to make sure that the state resources are actually not destroyed. But at the same time, though, Michelle, we have seen some farmers driving past us earlier on, going further up. So we're going to check and see what exactly is happening on their side. And I suppose also they will tell you that they've come out to protest in order to make sure that actually justice does ultimately prevail in the murder of Brendin Horner. Lots of people, Michelle, that I've spoken to so far, though, have been clear, though, that the murder of Brendin Horner has been just a criminal act and something that should not be tolerated in this country.
Malungelo, we've just been showing our viewers the other side of where you are in Senekal. It's a different section of the town where members of the EFF are gathered. There's that live visuals coming out there now. It's important also, Malungelo, to note that we are still very much operating in the midst of a pandemic, and we're looking at these live visuals on our screen there. I mean, fair to say, hundreds of people gathered there, members of the EFF holding EFF flags and placards. Not any social distancing, and I'm not actually seeing a single mask in that crowd. Maybe one. I can see one mask at the front of the crowd there.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be the challenge, Michelle. And in fact, we saw about 5 buses on our arrival here, arriving with people, with members rather of the economic freedom fighters, singing and chanting their songs. And some of them, you're right, were actually not wearing any masks. And I suppose that's something that the party will actually have to deal with. And, I can see a few right now in front of me. Some of those are wearing masks, but as you rightfully pointed out, some of them don't actually have those masks, and it raises that question that you spoke about, that have people forgotten that, in fact, even though they are here, we're still operating in a pandemic.
Absolutely. Certainly something to keep in mind there. Thanks very much for that. Malungelo Booi is live to us there in Senekal. He is in the CBD, so quite a distance away from where those protesters have gathered.